There are a bunch of awesome weapons inside of the Forsaken expansion. In fact, I'd say that most of the best weapons we've had in Destiny 2 are actually inside of the new DLC. And so in this video, I wanted to break down 10 unmissable weapons that you can find in Forsaken. And these are weapons that perform really well across PvP and PvE content. Of course, we can't list every weapon in the game, so definitely let me know any thoughts you have down below, any top weapons that you've been using. But if you want to know the top performing weapons, or are curious about some weapons that you should go after next, then hopefully this video will be pretty useful. And without further delay, let's jump straight into it. So like I said, we will talk about a bunch of weapons in this video. Up first, it's gonna have to be the Edge Transit. Okay, we'll just start again, I suppose. Although, Edge Transit actually isn't a bad grenade launcher by any means. If you can get proximity grenades, rangefinder, Genesis on this thing, it's pretty tasty. But seeing as everyone has at least 30 Edge Transits, I suppose we should talk about some other weapons. Up first would have to be Bygones. This is the new pulse rifle, which comes from the Gambit game mode. It's in the adaptive frame class of pulse rifles, so it's very similar to Inaugural Address from year 1. And this class right now is in a really good spot in the game. Fantastic in PvE content, very solid in PvP content, probably the best archetype all around. Unfortunately for the Bygones, it has fantastic range, fantastic stability. The stats in general are really good. You can get a really nice full auto roll from the Drifter when you actually reach rank 12 in Gambit, I believe it is. And that's the roll that you're seeing gameplay of right here, but you can get even better rolls. You can get high caliber rounds, you've got Rampage, Kill Clip, high impact reserves, rangefinder, opening shot, outlaw, full auto, head seeker, slide shot, under pressure. There are so many combinations of the Bygones which are going to be pretty godly. And even if you got the Inaugural Address roll with kill clip and outlaw, it would probably be a pretty good upgrade, especially where PvP is concerned. So don't sleep on the Bygones. Moving on though, another weapon which I think is definitely worth hunting down, especially for shotgun fans, of course, would be the Mindbenders Ambition. So obviously we have the really awesome theme on this weapon, very cool visuals. These hive runes on the side actually light up when you get a kill. And of course, this one actually comes from the Hollowed Lair Nightfall Strike. It's aggressive frame, but it's actually a slightly newer version of that, so it also increases the rate of fire after a kill, which is a great bonus in any type of content, but especially in PvP, this is a fantastic shotgun. You've got decent stats across the board, but also we have random rolls. You've got rifled barrel, you've got full choke, barrel shroud, smoothbore, so it's full of options. You also have opening shot, slide shot, snapshot, threat detector, rampage, quick draw, moving target, and auto-loading holster as potential bonuses here. So there are many god rolls that you could get on this weapon. Opening shot and moving target would be super high accuracy. There's a curated roll with opening shot and rampage. So if you're a high impact shotgun fan, this is one of the best guns that you could possibly get. Up next though, we've got to list the raid exotic in this one. So we've got the 1000 Voices. It comes with the bonus Ahamkara's Eye. Charging the weapon unleashes a giant continuous beam of death, and the weapon's beam superheats its targets upon impact, causing delayed explosions. Now of course this does come from the Last Wish raid. You need to clear the final encounter in the raid, and you get a chance to get this dropped when you open one of the chests. It's a pretty rare weapon, but it's a pretty strong one, so it behaves kind of like a Telesto, so you'd have to charge it up like a fusion rifle, charges up kind of slowly, and then it fires the rounds almost like, you know, a full auto rifle, or a trace rifle or something like that, but then those rounds actually detonate after a short time, so you can attach them to objects, you can attach them directly to targets to do a ton of damage. It melts public event bosses. Really good as an invader in Gambit and also in the Crucible as well. Kinda lethal. If you blow up the projectiles next to you, they'll actually kill you. 1000 Voices is savage, it's as simple as that. Next though, I think we should mention the Luna's Howl. This is the competitive hand cannon, currently the reward for Season 4. Now it's a precision frame hand cannon. These are in a really good spot in the game right now for PvP and PvE. PvP especially, they 4-tap, which is pretty juicy. And Luna's Howl of course has the bonus Magnificent Howl. Rapidly landing 2 precision shots grants a short period of bonus damage until your next kill or miss. It basically doubles the damage of the third shot if you land 2 precision shots, meaning that it can 3-tap in PvP, but of course, it's a rapid fire frame hand cannon. So it fires super quickly, and it can kill super quickly with that bonus, but also in general, it's just a super solid hand cannon right now. For the archetype, it performs pretty well at range. In its optimum range, you can absolutely shred targets down and it's also pretty solid in PvE as well. So definitely if you get the opportunity to go after Luna's Howl, I think it's absolutely worth it. And like I said, that is the competitive quest reward for Season 4. Next, we should talk about some more pulse rifles. So I choose Shattering Bone. This one comes from Last Wish, and this one's in a particularly interesting spot because it's a lightweight frame pulse rifle. This archetype has kind of just been a bit meh inside of D2. However, in the current sandbox, they're actually pretty good, especially if you get one that has solid stats all around. So Shattering Bone has pretty good stats across the board, not necessarily super standout versus, things like Nightshade, but it handles so much better. The recoil is very minimal on Shattering Bone, so you can actually land all of your shots pretty easily. It feels much more like a similar kind of archetype from Destiny 1. In my opinion, it's without a doubt the best lightweight frame pulse rifle there is, and the bonuses that you can get make it very appealing for all types of content. So I actually have one with Outlaw as well as Rampage, but you can get Kill Clip, you can get full auto on this one, Rangefinder and Open and Shot. Also Headseeker and High Impact Reserves are options on this thing. And especially with the role I have in PvE content, it's just absolutely fantastic. You make kills, you get bonus damage, you've got Outlaw so you don't waste too much of that bonus damage if you do need to reload. You can just absolutely continuously shred through enemies. So a well-rolled Shattering Bone is going to be a very good pulse rifle. We're going to give a quick shout out right here to the Go figure as well though. It's not my favorite by any means, but it is a fantastic pulse rifle. So it's a new archetype, aggressive burst, hard hitting 4-burst fire, and that means it puts out a lot of damage. It can one-shot a lot of PvE enemies. Most of the mobs, things like the snipers in the raid, is very popular in Last Wish because it can take stuff down pretty quickly. It's also fairly lethal in the Crucible in terms of time to kill and damage, but it does have a lot of recoil and it's not very forgiving, which is the main downside to this weapon. It requires a fair amount of skill to really profit from, but it is pretty potent when you do profit from it. And of course, once again, the capability to roll a whole bunch of different bonuses on it make it very appealing. Especially on PC though, it's even more solid because you can control recoil so much better on PC. So don't sleep on either of these pulses. I'm going to give a shout out to the Ace of Spades here. This one should not be ignored by any means. In PvP, it's absolutely fantastic. The target acquisition, the consistency of this hand cannon is just insane. It also has a very solid range stat at 78 inside of this archetype, so it's, pretty standout. It's basically as good as it gets. It does have Firefly, so in PvE content, that's fantastic. Can't complain in PvP either, although it's not really a PvP focused bonus, but it does have Memento Mori. Reloading after a kill loads the magazine with a few extra damage bullets and grants radar while aiming down sights. Now that is a fantastic bonus in any type of content. It works pretty well across PvP and PvE. In PvP, the radar would probably be the main thing, with the ability also to do higher one-shot damage, so you're going to tag more kills on weak targets and things like that. It doesn't allow you to two-hit in PvP because it's not, going over 100 per shot or anything, but nonetheless, because of how consistent the weapon is, I can kind of understand why that bonus doesn't do more damage, because you would potentially never see anything else actually get used. So grind the Ace of Spades out if you don't already have it. There are a couple of decent auto rifles in this expansion. So there is the Tiger Spite. This would be my main shout. It comes from the Dreaming City as a random drop. It is a precision frame auto rifle. These are still probably the best archetype for any type of content. I don't find autos to be fantastic in Crucible right now myself. I'm not a huge auto fan inside of PvP, but in PvE, and because of the bonuses that you can get, it's pretty fantastic. You've got high impact reserves, kill clip, outlaw, triple tap. The bonuses that you can get on this thing are really, really awesome. Don't sleep on it in PvE content if you do enjoy autos. We should also mention Hazard of the Cast. I know we've got over 10 weapons right here, but I'm doubling up on some of these shoutouts. Hazard comes from the Gambit game mode, and once again, it's fantastic with its stats across the board in a decent archetype for all types of content, and you can get very good bonuses. So that should give you a good heads up if you're an auto rifle fan. Let's talk about a heavy weapon. It's going to have to be the Bad Omens. This is the rocket launcher which comes from Gambit. Very decent stats, especially considering the bonuses that you can roll. So it can get tracking, it can get cluster bombs. It's going to make it really solid in PvE content. Pretty fun in PvP as well. The one benefit as well is that the Bad Omens is a 25 round per minute rocket launcher. So it actually fires faster than a lot of the other archetypes. And in certain situations, such as that crazy new Riven cluster bomb kill, this really pays off because you can just get a bunch of damage out very quickly, then get onto, you know, something else that you can do damage with, a super, a sniper, or whatever else it could be. So if you want a good rocket launcher, Bad Omens from Gambit with the right perks is one of the best in the game. Let's go for another exotic right here. I feel like the Black Talon is worth a mention. So this is the new exotic sword. It comes with crow's wings, press to fire off a projectile cross combo, and powered sword kills will also grant ammo. Now that combo that you can do with this sword does some pretty noticeable damage. I don't think it's quite in the same league as D1 exotic swords in terms of damage, but it's definitely a lot closer than any other sword that we've had so far in D2. It also does have a noticeably better ammo capacity. Swords have seen a bit of a buff. I personally feel like they could maybe use a little more ammo. I still feel like we need to get them closer to what they were like in Destiny 1, but considering the progress that we've made with Black Talon, I think it does deserve a mention. Now let's mention the very final weapon right here. It would be the Nation of Beasts from the Last Wish raid. Now it's a really good hand cannon across the board. It's got good stats, you know, nothing super standout, but it's very solid to use. Target acquisition feels good. The roll right here that I have has triple tap and outlaw, but really the roll that you want of this one is actually a curated roll from Bungie. So you can get one that has full bore. There's a good range buff right there, as well as light mag, and then it has outlaw and dragonfly. So it's basically the Destiny 2 Fatebringer, or as close as you would ever get, which is pretty awesome. But of course you do have to grind the Last Wish raid for this one. I do, however, think it's one of the top hand cannon picks in the game right now. So there we go, guys. A bunch of weapons inside of Forsaken. Like I said, I think that these are the standout weapons, some of the unmissable weapons inside of this DLC. There are other things. We've got a slew of new Iron Banner weapons that can get random rolls, more Dreaming City weapons that you can get. There's more decent stuff inside of Gambit, and of course the Crucible. And that's not to mention some of the stuff we're still taking with us right now. You know, Whisper of the Worm, the Ikelos shotgun, Inaugural Address from Year 1. There's plenty of Year 1 stuff that we're still using, but if you're after anything new, then maybe this video has been useful or interesting. So let me know down below any weapons you've been enjoying using, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, a like is very much appreciated. I want to say a big thanks to my pal Easy and my pal Fireball for letting me jump on their accounts. I had to use a total of 3 accounts to access all of these weapons, so I do appreciate those guys letting me take the time. But if you're new to this channel and you want to see more Destiny content, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But for now, whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.